evening, it's Graham Healy, and this is instantaneous counterattack with legally proportionate responses. And I just want to tell you a story tonight. It's only going to be a short one. You know, in the 70s, I was boxing in Reggie Kirkham's boxing gym in Townsville, and there was a fighter there who was a Queensland heavyweight champion called Johnny Atherton. Now, you know, I mean, I was at that stage, I was a light middleweight, which is about 11 stone 11, you know, almost 12 stone. And you know, at Reggie's gym, we had all the state champions like Sippy Batali, Vincey Vitali. We had Desi Greaves, who was a professional #1 fighter in of the lighter divisions. We had Simon Temple of the Saint. Even Danny O'Connor was sparred there a couple of times. And we had Robbie Thompson, who was the Queensland state champion middleweight. And at that stage I was about 19, and I already had a reasonable amount of experience from my father, who taught me all the moves of the Healy Boxing Academy. And my grandfather was a professional boxing coach, and he had a gym in an old movie theatre in Gordonvale outside Cairns. So Gordonvale was just beside the Yarrabah Mission, so most of Granddad's fighters were Aboriginal fighters, such as the Grogan brothers. Darryl Arkey was the Queensland state champion, and many others who knew Bert Healy quite well. Even today, even though Granddad's passed away for a while, he was a racehorse trainer and a boxing trainer. And as the story goes, someone at the races decided to give Bert Healy a little bit of a challenge, and you know, a lady told me that was at the races. He said, "Well, your grandfather must have been about 74 at the time. Just hit this bloke with the right hand and knocked him clean out in front of everyone." So that was my grandfather. My uncles have got a little bit of a reputation in that area, and of course Dad was a very skilled fighter, and fought only had 13 fights for the title, but he fought guys that had 60 to 100 fights and all this sort of thing. So it's not the amount of fights you have, it's your background quality training before you actually get in the ring. Now, I'll just tell you a story about Johnny Atherton. Now, Johnny Atherton is, in my opinion, Johnny was very much like Rocky Marciano's style of fighting. I'd seen Johnny, we went to support Johnny at a professional boxing bout at the Savannah Speedway, where they had the boxing ring set up in the middle of the speedway, and I think that was it, about 1973, maybe around that era. And of course Johnny had a tremendous punch on him, and he was a bit like Rocky Marciano, built like him. I'll show you a picture of him in a second. And I remember I was putting bets on that Johnny had knocked this guy out, and the guy from Melbourne that he was fighting is quite a skilled fighter, and from a points point of view, actually he was outpointing Johnny. And I remember I kept yelling out, "Johnny will knock him out," and we're sort of betting, you know, as they do in boxing, in the audience. Anyway, as I yelled out that Johnny will knock this guy out, this guy was actually a good boxer, quite frankly. And just as I said that, I think it was about round 3, and Johnny just hit him with one of these wild hooks, and this guy just went crashing through the ropes, just about landed in front of us. So that was Johnny Atherton. Now, I sparred Johnny a few times. And when I say sparred Johnny, you sparred Johnny Atherton very, very carefully. And you know, I mean, Johnny he was just one hell of a puncher. And we were just, you know, I was only a young guy, and he was a professional Queensland champion. So Reggie said, "Okay, Graham, you're going to have to spar Johnny Atherton today." I said, "Oh, Reggie's a bit above my level." And he said, no, you need the experience. and Johnny won't hurt you. And anyway, so I moved around Johnny through the left hands and all that I know, and I've scored on Johnny a little bit, and then he sort of crowded me because he's a big, strong guy, as you see in this photograph. I'll put in this video, and he hit me. I sort of got in close, like you would. Which is not a good idea for me because I'm a counter puncher. And Johnny, he hit me with a double hook either side of the jaw. He didn't hit me hard, but he went boom like this. So I'll just show you that again. Bang, and he hit me here, both simultaneously, either side of the jaw. Was like a clap with his knuckles, And he didn't put full power in it. He just showed me what it's like to come in close with a professional fighter like him. And I'd never seen a punch like that, a double punch either side of the jaw. Well, it dropped, my knees just went out from underneath me, and it dropped me to my knee. And I said, what the hell did you hit me with there? And he said, you get in too close, son. And he said, I'll use the double hook either side of your jaw. So he puts his head down, boom, and hit you with this double hook. I've never seen that in boxing ever since, but Johnny Atherton could do it, I tell you. So over the years, when I left boxing, went to martial arts, taekwondo and all that, and then Yun Jin Do was a founding instructor for that. And I use the twin hand clap. Boom. Hang on, let's get it over here. Bang. Boom. Alright, I'll show you that on the bag. That's the next instantaneous self-defense technique. I've used that single-handed very effectively, and as I always say, in all these situations you see a lot of Krav Maga guys and all these different people using excessive force. You use excessive force, unless your life's threatened, you're the one who's going to get into trouble. So in other words, when you do these techniques I'm showing you instantaneous self-defense, they're geared up on a scale of 1 to 10. You use about a 5 out of 10 to sting them and not hurt them, because what happens, well, within the range of the proportionate response, if they've got a weapon, well, of course you've got to go 10 out of 10. You've got no weapon, they've got a weapon. Well, you've got to neutralise them instantly, which you can. But if they haven't got a weapon, you just gear it down. I say 4, 5 out of 10. Sometimes I'll go 6 out of 10. And when you neutralise them, they stay neutralised. It's like I call the instantaneous counterattack the stinger. So when you sting them, you hit the reset button. So the human mind, and I've done med science degree, so I know what I'm talking about. I've studied the neurology of the brain and what have you, the nervous system. I know back to front. I've got a dry needling and acupuncture master's certificate, so I can stick needles in people in all sorts of places without endangering the nervous system. And that takes a lot of study, believe you me. You've got to be very careful. You're putting an acupuncture needle in the neck, around the back, near the chest cavity and all this sort of stuff. You really better know what you're doing. So that background, I do know what I'm doing, and I do know where the vital points and the pressure points and the nerve pathways are, because I've studied them for 6 years. So when I deliver the instantaneous counterattack, the attacker will immediately lose his ego immediately. I've used these techniques over the years, and I'll tell you now, I've had my students behind me when in one situation where I had some bloke do a run around in a car park and just ran straight up to me, just out of nowhere, into my personal space, and I thought, well, he could have a weapon. But I used the old instantaneous counterattack with an open hand, and boom, down he went on his knees, so I could have an opportunity to step back and warn him, next one's hospital. So when I show you these techniques on the bag, which I'll do probably tomorrow, you'll see what I'm talking about. This one is the double slam. Let's get this right. Yeah, so it's here. Someone grabs you by the throat, pulls you in, puts your head down, and boom, double slam with the cupped hand like that. Right now, all this stuff I'm showing you, I've done in the real world, so I got no problems about it. And when I say instantaneous counterattack, and I'm talking instantaneous, you'll neutralise them. I can neutralise people very from, doesn't matter what size they are. You hit them in the right spot and they're neutralised. Okay, that's Graham Healy over and out. This particular technique, which is the double slam or double hit, usually aim for the ears, could be the side of the neck, jaw, and again, in every technique I'm showing you, they are to be used only for self-defense, and they're used only in legally proportionate responses. In other words, if it's just a warning technique, so that you just take the aggression out of them, that's usually about a 5 or a 6 out of 10. You only gear it up to 10 out of 10 if they have a weapon, or their intent is, there might be more of them there. There might be 3, 4 people, criminals around you, and one, the big mouth, is going to do you in. You can do a runner, and that's the best option, I suppose. But if you're running, they can run behind you. Or in that gang situation, say there's 3, I've had 3 characters confront me, and they've said to themselves, okay, what are we going to do with this? Bleep, bleep, bleep. Before the third bleep got out, boom, one went down. So you take the mouthpiece out. I mean, the person who thinks they're the mouthpiece, and the other ones have a double thought about it. So like in all gang situations, you'll have the leader of the gang who pushes the other ones forward. But if you take him out, and you do it quickly and effectively, it sort of drops the energy out of the others. So there's a situation for Healy's instantaneous counterattack. So that one's coming. The double strike either side of the ears. If someone goes to grab you or they come in close to you, that can be done from behind as well. Say for instance someone is violently attacking someone else, you can drop the double slam in, and they'll just go to their knees immediately, won't even know what hit them. So, and again, just last time, everything has to be Criminal Code 1899 in Queensland, which is proportionate response. These, you just treat it as if these will always go to court, and the police will always look at proportionate response. I had one just recently where I'm talking like last week recently, where a self-professed street gang member decided he was going to take me out and knock me out. Well, it didn't work out that way for him, did it? He's on a police report at the moment, and protection orders going on this particular character. But it was the old, the old Healy instantaneous slap. A couple of them neutralise the ego, and then the rest is history. So believe you me, even at I won't tell you how old I am, because people just guess that these days, but I can still deliver, and deliver quite powerfully too if I have to. So that's what it's all about. And people are running around trying to do 16,000 techniques like a Bruce Lee movie. Even though we love Bruce Lee, the reality is all you need is 1 or 2 in the right spot, and you'll take them, you'll stop them, neutralise them. And that's the warning shot. I call it the warning shot, or the stinger. Okay, Graham Healy over and out. You'll get that video on the punching bags probably tomorrow. So okay, have a good night, and I'll put an image here of Johnny Atherton, my old mate from Reggie Kirkham's boxing gym, the former heavyweight, professional heavyweight champion of Queensland. Okay, have a good night. Thanks for listening.